Top of the stretch, lining up for the first race. Here they come. They're off and pacing. Wandering Hans from the inside going to the lead for Chup. Wandering Hans out there a length. Far outside, here comes Harper's Horse. Wandering Hans opens up the lead by 2. Harper's Horse drops in second. A length and a half back to Sheer Grit, racing in third. A length back to Ebo Walker in fourth. 3 back to Don't Try This at Home, and the favorite entry. Racing second to last and last, that's Dry Dock and Telemann as they hit the quarter at 27-1. Off the turn, and now up the backstretch. Wandering Hans, the New Zealand bred, out there by 4 over Harper's Horse. Then a break of 5 to Sheer Grit, traveling third. 3.5 back to Ebo Walker, under urging in 4. Approaching the half. Wandering Hans out there by 2. Harper's Horse in the pocket. The half timed 58-1. Wandering Hans into the far turn. A length and a half. Harper's Horse right there in behind. On the outside, Ebo Walker moves up first over third. Now following up that live cover is Dry Dock. Right in behind him, Telemann. On the inside, Sheer Grit saves ground with 3/8 to go. Top of the stretch, Wandering Hans. 3 parts of a length. Ebo Walker is the pressure. They're in the stretch. Wandering Hans looking to go all the way. He's out there by 2. 3/4 timed in 1:29. Wandering Hans. 3 parts of a length. Ebo Walker continues to gain ground. Here he comes, and now Ebo Walker overtakes Wandering Hans in the final 1/8 of a mile. It's Ebo Walker now by 2. Wandering Hans, Dry Dock, and Telemann. They're not going to get there. Ebo Walker in deep stretch is home free. Ebo Walker in front by 3. Dry Dock second, close for third between Wandering Hans and Telemann of the opener. In top of the stretch, field of fillies lining up for the start. Picking up speed. Here they come. They're off. Good start. They're all going out for the lead. In the middle of the track, it's Unruffled. On the outside, moving up, here comes Precious Guru, Unruffled. To the top, Precious Guru racing right alongside, now drops in behind. A length and a half back to Maggie's Maze Pet, racing in third. Up on the outside, here comes Velocity Girl. To the inside of her, it's Goal Is. A length back to Renee's Legacy. Another 2 back to Anxious D. Remember Me Homer, your 2 trailers. Royal Ballerina and Sea of Jewels. Opening quarter time, 28-1. A race up the backstretch. Your leader by 2 is Unruffled. Here comes Velocity Girl and Bussy. Velocity Girl having a go at the lead. Velocity Girl to the top, 3 parts of a length. Unruffled going right with her. Now these two now pulling away. 3 ahead of Ruffy Guru racing third. A race for the half. Your leader's Velocity Girl a length. Unruffled racing in second. The half timed in 58 seconds. Race around the far turn. Velocity Girl out there by 2. Unruffled racing in second on the outside. Goal Is moves up for Pinsky. On the inside, Precious Guru. A length and a half back on the inside, Maggie Maze Pet. Renee's Legacy into the outer flow, along with Anxious D, Royal Ballerina. Remember Me Homer, and far back, Sea of Jewels. They're in the stretch. Velocity Girl, she's now out there by 5, 3/4, 1:29-2. It's Velocity Girl. Your leader by 3 with 3/16 to go. Unruffled. Losing ground second. Goal Is third. Renee's Legacy. A late rally in fourth, but still about 5 off the leading Velocity Girl. A 16th of a mile. It's Velocity Girl cruising out there. A late move by Renee's Legacy. Velocity's Girl winning it by 3. Renee's Legacy. Anxious D up for third in 1:58-3. And returns $933. Top of the stretch. Here they come. They're off and pacing. Holly's Upset showing early speed, along with Surprise Romance. Here's Surprise Romance to the top with Anderson, not wasting any time. Surprise Romance now rolling out to a 4-length advantage as they hit the first turn. Holly's Upset racing in second. Cabaret Classic in third. Then a break of 3.5 to Rich Comedy racing in fourth. 2 back to Pretty Miss Ideal. Another gap of 2 to Silence Payoff. Then comes Trackside Cash, Trendy Liz, your 2 trailers, Barb's Love, and the first-time starter Martha and Morgan. Off the opening quarter, 28 seconds there, spread out. Across the track as they race for the half. Surprise Romance, the favorite, on top by 3 over Holly's Upset. Then a gap of 3 to Cabaret Classic. Another break of 5 to Rich Comedy racing in fourth. Moving off the rail is Pretty Miss Ideal, about 10 off the top with a half-mile to go. Silence Payoff right in behind her. Trackside Cash, Trendy Liz, and far back to Barb's Love. And Martha and Morgan, the half timed in 57-2, 29-2, second quarter. Round the far turn now with 3/8 to go. Surprise Romance out there by 2. Holly's Upset lurking as the main danger. A length and a half back to Cabaret Classic. Then a break of 4 to Pretty Miss Ideal. On the outside, Silence Payoff is far back. They're in the stretch. Surprise Romance by 2. Holly's Upset gains ground. 3/4, 127-4. Surprise Romance leads. Holly's Upset drifting wide, but still maintains second. A length and a half ahead of Cabaret Classic racing in third. Silence Payoff's a distant fourth. Trendy Liz a late rally, but far back. Now down the stretch. Surprise Romance. She's by herself. Surprise Romance in deep stretch. An easy winner for Anderson. Here she is, Surprise Romance at 157. Cabaret Classic second. Holly's Upset may have salvaged third. Field of 7 trotters now move off the turn. They enter the stretch. Lining up. Here they come. They're off and trotting. Colonel Skywalker in the middle of the track, left hard. DL Tia, 1 wide of him. Here's DL Tia challenging Colonel Skywalker for the lead, and now DL Tia 3/4 of a length ahead of Colonel Skywalker. Then a gap of 4 to Never Still's Colt. A length and a half back to Muley's Reporter, racing in fourth. On the outside, Randolph Fedora. To the inside, Essie's Boy. The trailer still about 10 off the top. Cinderella's Charge off the opening quarter, 28 seconds. They settle in up the backstretch. Colonel Skywalker out there by 2. DL Tia drops in second. Never Still's Colt racing third. A length back to Muley's Reporter in fourth. Essie's Boy trots in fifth. And comes Randolph Fedora and Cinderella's Charge. Not much change. They trot up towards the half. Colonel Skywalker in command, a tight length. DLT in the pocket. Now moving off the rail is Never Still's Colt. Muley's Reporter will follow up that live cover. The half timed in 59-3. Race into the far turn. Colonel Skywalker, 3/4 of a length. The pressure is Never Still's Colt. Now these two strides apart. DLT right there in third. Muley's Reporter about 4 off the lead. Trotting fourth, Essie's Boy moves up into striking position. On the inside, Randolph Fedora. Cinderella's Charge still trails. They're in the stretch, approaching 3/4. On the inside, Colonel Skywalker. On the outside, Never Still's Colt. They're still together by 3/4, 129-4. Colonel Skywalker under attack on the outside. Never Still's Colt still there. These two strides apart. Colonel Skywalker coming back. Never Still's Colt racing in second. Here comes Muley's Reporter. A late rally on the far outside by Randolph Fedora. Colonel Skywalker finding more in the final yards. It's Colonel Skywalker winning again. Close for second. 159-3. The disqualification. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 7. Top of the stretch, lining up for the start. Here they come. They're away in pacing, going off stride. Bye-bye Nuke. Any Dream Will Do in the middle of the track, firing right out for the lead. On the inside, Ancient Gypsy came through, and now settling third is Proud Ideal. 2 in front of Fox Valley Jolene, racing in fourth. A length back to In the Ear Tonight in fifth, another length to Cahokia, pacing in sixth. In seventh, around the turn, Hope Scal, and back Honor Gate, but trailing is Bye Bye Nuke. They're off the quarter, 28 seconds. They race up the backstretch. Any Dream Will Do, a length and a quarter, Ancient Gypsy right in behind. And then a gap of 4 to Proud Ideal. A length and a half back to Fox Valley Jolene. Cahokia now takes over fifth, ahead of In the Air Tonight. On the outside, Hope Scal, also on the move. Then comes Bye Bye Nuke. They race for the half. Any Dream Will Do, out there a length. Ancient Gypsy right there in the pocket. Cahokia first up and facing the breeze. As they approach the half, Any Dream Will Do. Here's Cahokia on the outside. Half timed in 59 and 4. Now Cahokia forging her way to the top a length. Any Dream Will Do will yield in second. Hope Scal left uncovered in third. On the inside, Ancient Gypsy racing in fourth. Moving up in fifth. Bye Bye Nuke far back on a break. In the Ear Tonight, they come to the corner. Cahokia in command by 2. Any Dream Will Do, racing on the inside. On the outside, without cover, Hope Scal. She's dropping back. She'll have to do more with a quarter of a mile to go. 3/4, 1:29. Cahokia leads by 2. Any Dream Will Do, trying to come back. On the outside, Hope Scal racing third. Here comes Ancient Gypsy in between horses. Proud Ideal looks for racing room. Bye Bye Nuke is out there. Down the stretch, Cahokia leads. Here's Ancient Gypsy. Now in the final yards, Ancient Gypsy on the inside, wearing her down. Ancient Gypsy getting up. Cahokia second, close for third. Proud Ideal in 1:58. Nuke unofficially finished sixth, disqualified and placed seventh. Here is the rundown after the placing. 8-3-6, 7-1-2-5. Fields in the stretch, picking up speed. Here they come. They're off. Bretta Bardot and Rain Dance Society going after the lead. Now coming through on the inside, Jimmy's Butterfly. Rain Dance Society to the top a length. Jimmy's Butterfly secures second, dropping in third. Bretta Bardot, a gap of 3 to Hurricane Jane, racing in fourth. A length to Jam F. Hots in fifth. A length and a half, Corky Seashell, racing in sixth. The favorite, JL Hawkwin, about 8 off the top. So they race for the quarter. 29 seconds. Now driving from the pocket, Jimmy's Butterfly. Jimmy's Butterfly on the attack. On the inside, Rain Dance Society digs down and draws off again. Jimmy's Butterfly will take a seat. A length and a half back to Bretta Bardot, racing in third. 4 lengths back to Hurricane Jane in fourth. A length behind, Jam F. Hots. Then comes Corky Seashell, and JL Hawkwin still reserved as they approach the half. No change in position. It's Rain Dance Society in command of the fractions by the half, 59 and 4. Rain Dance Society leads. On the inside, Jimmy's Butterfly. On the outside, here comes Jam F. Hots, followed up by Corky Seashell. Bretta Bardot being pushed back along the inside, along with Hurricane Jane. Now JL Hawkwin. She's on the move, 5 off the lead as they come to the top of the stretch. Rain Dance Society leads the way, approaching 3/4. Rain Dance Society, 3 parts of a length. Jam F. Hots, the challenger, 3/4, 1:30 and 2. Rain Dance Society leads a length. Jam F. Hots, another move at the leader. On the inside, Jimmy's Butterfly, right there and looking for room. Here comes Hurricane Jane. Hurricane Jane moving fastest in the middle of the track. Down the stretch, Hurricane Jane drawing off for the victory. A late move by Jimmy's Butterfly. Jam F. Hots third in 1:57 and 4. Fields off the turn. Field of 9 2-year-olds now lining up as they approach the start. Here they come. They're off. Good start. Big Johnson on the inside. Bo Cam is there. Far outside, here's Heroic. These three now, 3 deep as they race under the wire for the first time. In between horses, Bo Cam to the top, Heroic. On the outside, challenging. Big Johnson settles in third. A length ahead of Propensity, racing in fourth. Then comes Sportsmaster Joey and Plausible. In behind those two, Fresnay Le Bouffard, Charity's Gambler, and Video Bandit. Opening quarter timed in 28-2. Off the turn, and they race up the backstretch. Bo Cam now in command by 2. Heroic in second. A length and a half back to Big Johnson and Anderson. Then a gap of 3 on the outside. Here comes Sportsmaster Joey. Propensity to the inside, saving ground. Plausible picks up cover on the outside, moving up in 6th. 3 lengths back to Fresnay Le Bouffard. And then comes Video Bandit and Charity's Gambler. Bo Cam by the half. 58-3. Bo Cam, your leader. Heroic in the pocket. Sportsmaster Joey being rated by Morgan. Plausible right in behind him, about 4 off the top with 3/8 to go. Big Johnson pushed back along the inside. On the outside, moving up, Fresnay Le Bouffard, followed up closely by Video Bandit, dropping back Propensity. Charity's Gambler trails. They're in the stretch. Bo Cam out there by 3. 3/4, 128-2. It's Bo Cam, your leader. Sportsmaster Joey trying to get at him. Going a long mile. Here comes Plausible and Joel Smith. They're ganging up on Bo Cam. Sportsmaster Joey in between horses. Plausible on the outside. Now in deep stretch. Plausible takes the lead. Plausible's drawing off Sportsmaster Joey. And a late move by Video Bandit. Here's Plausible. Plausible wins it easily. Video Bandit, Big Johnson, up for third in 157-2. Top of the stretch. Here they come. They're off and pacing. Far outside, Take a Peep left aggressively. So did Exalted Ecstasy on the inside. Lady Berea came away third behind those two. Take a Peep to the top, a length. Exalted Ecstasy racing second, a length and a half back to Lady Berea, racing in third. 2 back to LC's Choice in fourth. In behind her in 10-2, racing in fifth. Fox Valley Tigress racing in sixth, and seventh around the turn, Miss Perfect S. On the outside, Anxious Candid. Your trailer is Romantic Cassie. Off the quarter, 29-1. They straighten up the backstretch. Take a Peep. On top, a tight length. Exalted Ecstasy, the 2-year-old, right there in the pocket. Lady Berea now moving off the rail for Morgan. Here she comes. She attacks on the outside. Lady Berea forging her way to the top. Take a Peep racing in second. A length and a half back to Exalted Ecstasy in third in 10-2. Now on the move in fourth. On the inside, it's LC's Choice. Following up live cover, Fox Valley Tigress. By the half, a minute 2/5. Lady Berea, the favorite in Morgan. On top, a length on the outside. Here comes in 10-2. She's inching her way forward. On the inside, Take a Peep. Right there in third. Also saving ground, Exalted Ecstasy. Fox Valley Tigress gapping her cover. And behind her, Anxious Candid. LC's Choice, nowhere to go. They're in the stretch. Lady Berea has this field by 3/4 of a length. 3/4, 130-4. It's Lady Berea. Now a length in 10-2. Trying to wear her down on the inside. Take a Peep. Racing in third. Exalted Ecstasy. In fourth, LC's Choice now swings to the outside. Deep in the lane. Lady Berea on top of length. Lady Berea now striding out. Lady Berea wins it for Morgan by 2. Take a Peep second in 10-2 third in 158-3. Field off the turn. 2-year-olds lining up for the 9th race. Here they come. They're off and pacing. Free Cat on the inside, left well. Lake Hills Try Again in the middle of the track, far outside. Moving up for position, Fox Valley Victory. Lake Hills Try Again on a short lead on the outside. Here comes Fox Valley Victory and Heitman. A length and a half behind those two is Free Cat as they hit the first turn. A length and a half back to Red Cap, racing wide around the turn. MJ's Mr. B. He's on the attack. Get Rich Quick. Then comes Holly Hill Salute, Temerity, and Ideal Centurion. Off the quarter, 28 seconds. Fox Valley Victory on top by 2 over Lake Hills Try Again. Free Cat racing in third. Then a gap of 4 to Red Cap, the Chestnut. Going along well in fourth. 2 back to MJ's Mr. B. On the outside, moving up, is Get Rich Quick. Following up that live cover, Holly Hill Salute, Temerity, and Ideal Centurion. Fox Valley Victory takes him by the half, 58-1. Fox Valley Victory in command by 2 1/4. Lake Hills Try Again. Here comes Free Cat and Morgan. They're on the attack as they advance on the outside. On the inside, racing in fourth is Red Cap. Get Rich Quick gapping his cover on the inside. MJ's Mr. B is held up. They're in the stretch. Fox Valley Victory leads the way by 3/4, 128. Fox Valley Victory leads by 2. Free Cat lurking in the pocket. Lake Hills Try Again racing in third. Red Cap racing in fourth. Holly Hill Salute and Ideal Centurion down the stretch. Fox Valley Victory and Free Cat, they're locking up to the wire. Free Cat on the outside. Fox Valley Victory still there. And now Free Cat drawing off to win it. Fox Valley Victory a game second. Lake Hills Try Again third in 156-1. Field of 6. All in behind the starting gate. They're in the stretch. Here they come. They're away and pacing with Ildico and Sidestep showing early speed. Ildico on the inside, Sidestep on the outside. Now Sidestep will take command into the first turn, a length. Ildico will yield in second, a length back to Hapatak. In third, Illinois Breds occupy the top 3 positions as they race around the turn. Then comes Magic Shopper, laying off those 3 in fourth, about 4 off the top. Quick Mischief and Jules Joe Dwayne, the 3-year-old trails. Off the quarter, 28-1. Curve off the turn to race up the backstretch. Sidestep in command, a length. Ildico racing second, Hapatak third. Magic Shopper and Morgan racing in fourth. Quick Mischief in fifth. Jules Joe Dwayne racing to the 3/8. No change in position with Sidestep still in command of the fractions, a tight length. Ildico racing in the pocket. Hapatak racing third. Magic Shopper still unhurried, still 4 off the top. Race by the half, 58-2. Your 2 trailers, Quick Mischief and Jules Joe Dwayne. 3/8 of a mile to go. Sidestep leads the way a length. On the inside, Ildico racing in second. Hapatak in third. Jules Joe Dwayne. Push back along the inside. Magic Shopper. Quick Mischief still trails. They're in the stretch. Sidestep looking to go all the way. She's out there by 2. 3/4, 127-3. It's Sidestep, your leader. On the outside, Hapatak moves up. On the inside, it's Ildico. On the outside, the gray, Jules Joe Dwayne. Magic Shopper now off the rail and running into traffic. Quick Mischief still at the end. Down the stretch, Hapatak leads. Here comes Magic Shopper. Hapatak in deep stretches off stride. Here comes Magic Shopper. Magic Shopper wins it. in 1:56, close for second and third. Here's your 10th race. Top down after the placing. 1, 6, 3, 2. Fields in the stretch. Field of 6 lining up. Here they come. They're off and pacing with Dragon Stalker in the middle of the track. On the inside, Chris Van Winkle. Coming away, Garth. Chris Van Winkle to the top, a length over Garth. Dropping in third, Dragon Stalker, a length ahead of Carmine Lobel. Then comes Toddlin Town and Broadway Clamor. Your two trailers midway around the turn. Chris Van Winkle in command, a tight length, Garth. Right on his back, Dragon Stalker in third. Time for the quarter, 28-3. Here comes Garth and Morgan. Garth on the outside, forging his way on by. Chris Van Winkle will yield second. Dragon Stalker in third. Carmine Lobel, only about 4 off the top, racing in fourth. Then comes Toddlin Town and Broadway Clamor. Field of 6, midway up the backstretch. Headed by Garth. It's Garth, a length and a quarter. Chris Van Winkle right there in the pocket. Dragon Stalker on the inside. Carmine Lobel. Toddlin Town and Broadway Clamor the half, 59-1. Garth leads into the far turn. A tight length, still no pressure. Chris Van Winkle right there on his back. Dragon Stalker now the first to pull. Facing the breeze with 3/8 to go. On the inside, Carmine Lobel looks for racing room. Toddlin Town and Broadway Clamor. They're in the stretch. Garth out on top. A length and a quarter. Chris Van Winkle lurking in the pocket. 3/4. 129-3. It's Garth, your leader on the outside. Dragon Stalker racing second. On the inside, Chris Van Winkle third. Here comes Broadway Clamor. Down the stretch, Garth on his short lead. Dragon Stalker going a big mile. Here's Broadway Clamor. Broadway Clamor, longest shot on the board, getting up to win it. Dragon Stalker second, Garth third at 157-1. Fields off the turn. They're in the stretch. Fillies and Mirrors lining up for the 12th race. Here they come. They're off and pacing. No tan lines. Firing out aggressively. Going after the lead. Here comes Eva Let's Go. Moving right with her. No tan lines. Leads a length and now dropping in behind. Eva Let's Go, a length and a half back to Royal Storm, racing third. Incredible Susie is away in fourth. In fifth around the turn, Shira. Followed up by Incredible In, Diatros, Crazy Reaction, and Sidetracked again. Single file by the quarter, 28-4. No tan lines. Takes him up the backstretch. A tight length, Eva Let's Go. Right there in second. A length and a half back to Royal Storm. On the outside, moving up with a rush. Here comes Incredible In. Now driving from the pocket. Eva Let's Go. Second thoughts. She takes back. Has no tan lines. Draws clear again. Eva Let's Go right back in the pocket on the outside. Incredible In racing in third. Royal Storm fourth on the outside. Diatros to the inside. Incredible Susie. Off the half. 59 seconds. Race around the far turn. On the inside, no tan lines. Pressure from Incredible In. Their strides apart with 3/8 to go. 2 off the lead. Eva Let's Go on the inside. Royal Storm. Diatros has to do more. On the inside, Incredible Susie. Crazy Reaction, still about 8 to make up. They're in the stretch. No tan lines out there by 2 for Anderson. 3/4, 1:28 and 2. They're all in behind. No tan lines. She's cruising along by 3. Eva, let's go. Another crack at the leader. Royal Storm racing third. Here comes Shira. A late rally by Crazy Reaction, the 2-year-old. No tan lines. She's unraveling on the inside. Here comes Royal Storm. Royal Storm getting through along the inside. No tan lines. Royal Storm in front. No tan lines. Crazy Reaction and Shira 157 and 3.